Hey, it's Friday. Let's do some form checks. Hey guys, welcome back to another Form Check Friday. I'm Paul, still in Los Angeles, still making a studio at my parents' house, but hopefully I'll be back in Idaho next week and I can be back in my home studio. Until then, we're making the best of it. Thank you guys all for your submissions this week. No big announcements. We're going to get right into it and let's see if we can get through these form checks quickly and efficiently. As you know, I have not seen any of these, so we're doing this all in real time. All right, here we go. Flat procedure. Failed 2 reps. This is after getting 4 reps at this weight 2 weeks ago. I'm coming off a week of sickness and a minor back tweak. I think I'm leaning forward, but not sure. Okay, I'm assuming we're talking about a squat. We'll see. Let's take a look. Oh, it's Greg. What's up, man? Okay, so just to be clear, this is, you got 2 reps, you got 4 reps last time, then you were sick, and then you had a back tweak. So, you know, that's not bad. And good job going back to the weight that you left off at instead of thinking, okay, I got sick, I'm tired, I had a back tweak, I should take a bunch of weight off the bar. We've talked about that before. You go back to the weight that you left off at and you just see how many reps you can get. That prevents detraining. So that's what we want. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on with these squats. Okay. So depth is good, but there's a reason depth is good. And it's because your knees are caving in. I think this is the one. Yeah. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward thing that's happening here. You're not leaning over. What did you say? I think I'm leaning forward. You're not really leaning forward. You're dropping your chest as you drive your butt up. So the knees are caving in. Let's watch it again. It's a very, very common pattern. So that was a pretty decent rep, but it's your first one, you're fresh. Now you start to fatigue. And so, okay. So here's what's happening. The first part of the problem is knee cave. So as you go down, the knees start to cave in and you're just a knee cave guy. So that's going to be something you're battling the whole time. But when the knees cave in and you start driving up, instead of, if you can keep your hips out, or excuse me, your knees out really hard, then, and they don't cave at all, then you can drive your butt straight up. When the knees cave in and you start hip driving, another pattern emerges with this circular hip motion where instead of the hips moving straight up and down, they move back and up. They go like this. So the knees cave in, the hips move back and up. Right? And then when that happens, you drop your chest more, right? Because you got a leverage issue, right? So the knees are moving back. Your back angle becomes much more horizontal than it should. Bar rolls up on your neck and then you start to go forward, right? If we played that out, you'd eventually take a step or dump the bar over your head. Okay, so usually what happens then is you lift your chest too soon to try and save it and you kill your hip drive. And that's a good way to tweak your back too, or at least fatigue your spinal erectors. So it's this knee cave, hips go back and up, chest drops, bar rolls, weight goes forward. You can see your heels lifting up on some of these. Let's see. If we watch your heels here. Yeah. So the first thing you got to fix is the knees. You've got to do this in a way, you've got to learn to keep the knees out really hard. And for some guys, it's not a big problem. And for some guys, it's just a battle constantly. And for you, it's just going to be a battle. But pause squats, I would suggest definitely doing them as part of your warm-ups. And I'm sure you've seen the video, hornstrength.com/videos, pause squats, instructions are in there. And then I would probably, if you're doing a light squat day, or maybe incorporating a light squat day if you don't have one, I would work on that. And you can use a moderately heavy weight. So, you know, a light squat day would be like 80-85% of your heavy day. For pause squats where you're pausing at the bottom for 3 seconds, you want to use maybe 65 to 75%. You can start low, and then as you get used to the movement, you can up the weight a little bit, but they should be challenging. And the goal here with you is really just to get to the bottom position and with the knees jacked out real hard. Like they don't come in at all. So when you go to the bottom, you pause, you count to 3, your knees should be out. If you can push them out down there in that pause, then you let them cave in. And so over time, month or two of training, of practicing this, you'll embed that pattern. Your brain will just know when Greg goes to the bottom, the knees stay out. But you got to work on it, okay? Because that's the first part of this pattern emerging, is that knee cave. And then the second thing is, once you've got that down, it's as you think about driving your butt up, don't drop the chest. Don't let the chest become more horizontal, right? In fact, you might not even want to think about hip drive that much because you've got enough of it. You sort of get that. So it may help to just think stand up, try and squat with like a perfect back angle the whole time where it doesn't change, which is usually the wrong thing to say because we want to exaggerate that hip drive, but you've got a little too much hip drive here at the expense of your back angle becoming more horizontal. So instead, just think stand up. Just go to the bottom, focus all your mental energy on keeping the knees out. And when it comes time to drive up, just think, I want my hips and shoulders to move perfectly at the same time. I'm not going to hip drive. And you still will hip drive, but you'll probably overcorrect. And the main thing that we need to stop is the hips coming up and the chest dropping, because that's where this forward momentum is coming from. So those are the things I would have you do. Moderately heavy pause squats, right, on their own day, or you could work on them as a back off set. If you're only squatting once a week, you could do your top set and then a couple sets of lighter pause squats just to drill that knees out position. And don't keep piling weight on the bar if your knees are caving. You have to fix that, because it's just going to get worse and worse if you don't train those external rotators to keep your knees out. So fix that, and then focus on, don't worry about hip driving. Just focus on, you can even think about driving your traps or your shoulders up into the bar, right? Like the wrong thing to do is just drive your chest, don't lift your chest, but just think stand up or push my traps up into the bar and the bar up into the, I guess I would say ceiling, but you're outside, so sky. And just try and keep this perfect back angle, right? Normally we want to see a little pop here, maybe 2 or 3 degree change in back angle slightly to show that you started the drive with your hips. But in your case, I want this even, just hips and shoulders move at the same time. And I think you still will hip drive but even when you're thinking about not doing that, okay? The main thing is we can't have the hips going back and the chest dropping. So keep your chest up, don't lift it, but keep it up. Keep the knees out real hard. Make sure that weight's balanced, and practice the pause squats. And if you can put those pieces together, once you've got that and it looks clean, then you can start going up in weight again. But if you don't fix it now and you keep piling weight on because you want to hit a PR or whatever, it's just gonna get worse and worse. So that's what I do. Work on it. Post a video of your pause squats. Post a video when you think you got it, and we'll dive back in and try it again, man. Thanks for the post. All right, let's keep going. Who is next? El Guapo is back. All right, let's see what we got here. Another squat form check. I only did 3 reps at 365 because I was just really tired that day. But I think the last rep looked pretty good. I really focused on staying off my heels, setting my knees early, and led with the hips out of the hole. I may submit a press video next week because this lift just won't progress with my current form. Yeah, love to see your press. All right, Corey, let's take a look at the squat. You've got a pretty good squat, if I remember. I think we were just doing some minor adjusting. Okay, upper back looks good. Stance looks good. Oh yeah, you got that real slow cadence. Okay, so your issue was you're all sitting back. Okay. All right, let's take another. I got to see that again. Let's see here. So I think we were working with you. You were all hips back without putting the knees forward first. Okay, we're missing a little bit of depth here. Barely. And we're missing a little bit of you're opening up your hips a little early here. That one wasn't too bad. I mean, these are pretty good. Let's watch one more time. Yeah, if you notice on that rep, the hip drive, if we watch your chest, your hips and your shoulders, you start to lift your chest like right, you're already lifting it. There's not much hip drive here. Like it's very subtle. I want to see a little bit more pop in the hips here. That one was better, but you get out of your hips too soon. And when I say you get out of your hips, it means you're hip driving and then you hip drive a little bit, and where I would want to see you keep pushing, keep driving your hips through the middle. You're hip driving until you feel it kind of get hard, and then you're lifting your chest right away. And I've talked about this before. People do this all the time. They're like, okay, I'm gonna start the ascent with hip drive, and then as soon as it starts to feel like I'm gonna get stuck, that's my cue to just open up my hips. So hip drive hips, it's a little confusing. Basically, from the bottom, right? You lean over, you squat all the way down, knees are out, you get that stretch reflex, that bounce, and then you initiate the drive up by trying to push your ass up and keeping your back angle relatively the same. It's going to change a little bit as you start that aggressive drive with the hips, right? And then there's the middle part of the rep. Okay, so you get the little bounce, that's kind of springy, and then you start the push and the bar's moving, and then you hit the sticking point, which is the middle. And the sticking point is when after that stretch reflex and that initial sort of momentum of the ascent, it starts to get hard. And that's where you have to stay leaned over and keep driving, right? Keep this back angle, don't lift the chest, and keep pushing. Drive through the middle with hip drive. And then when you get closer to the top, right, then you lift the chest. But so many people, they're just like, well, I hip drived. And then as soon as the stretch reflex is over and the momentum has sort of, you've gotten whatever momentum you're going to get out of that stretch reflex and that hard, aggressive push. And then you start to feel the weight again. They're just like, well, I guess I'm done hip driving, and they stand up. Okay. So if you think about, if I want your back angle set all the way leaned over as you're ever going to be by the halfway point of the descent, that's the same place I want you to think about lifting your chest. In other words, you're going to get back up to halfway again before you even consider opening up your hips and making your back angle more vertical. So lean over on the way down and stay leaned over as long as you can on the way up, right? Just hold that back angle and keep pushing as high up as you can till you get to the point that you leaned over on the way down, roughly, and then you can stand up. And you've got the gist of this whole thing. It's just a matter of dialing in some of the, like hanging on to that back angle a little bit longer. You also need to get a little bit leaned over a little more sooner. So you're kind of fighting this urge. Well, your urge is to stay vertical. You're fighting the instruction to lean over a little bit. It's just a little delayed. So I want you diving for the floor. Okay? So I want you more leaned over on the way down sooner. So by the time you're halfway down, you're as leaned over as you're ever going to be. And I'm sure we've talked about this before. So if we think about, I want you more lean. You should be more horizontal by now, right? You're still leaning. And now we're going back to this sitting back part, right? Your knee is behind your toe here. And then there's no hip drive on that one. You're just opening up your hips, or you're lifting your chest. And the good news here is you have a lot of more power available to you if you learn to use it. Instead of opening up like this right out of the bottom and not really using your hip drive, if you can, once you tap into that, these weights are going to feel really light because you're able to lift this weight without actually using that one was a little better, but you're still raising your chest, like you're still lifting your chest like almost right away. So let's see if I have a good example. I think I do, of some hip drive. And I may have showed this to you before, but hip drive. What does this look like? All right. Yeah. So this is if you just watch his hips here. See that? See that pop out of the bottom? He leans over right away. He's diving for the floor, right? Like aggressive lean, and then watch his butt. Boom. Like you could see, and then he hangs on to it. He hangs on to that back angle as high as he can before he starts to, right? He gets through the sticking point and then he starts to lift his chest. Okay? So, when you start to squat, nipples to the floor. Stop trying to stay upright. Stop trying to keep this vertical back angle. Just point your chest at a spot between your toes. Just boom. Lean over, look at the floor, point your nipples down right away. Like get more leaned over sooner. And then drive your butt up and stay leaned over as long as you can on the way up. Don't think about lifting your chest till you're closer to the top. And that will actually, if you focus on leaning over more aggressively sooner, that will fix this tendency to get out of to sit back too much too soon, right? Like we were working on before, where you're all sitting back and the knees don't get where they need to be. Leaning over and forward more aggressively will also coincide with the knees going forward and maybe the weight shifting to your toes just a little bit. So by the time you're halfway down, the knees are set, the back angle is set, and then the second half of the descent, that's when you start focusing on sitting back. And then you drive up and you stay leaned over. Keep your chest pointed at the floor as high as you can, and then lift your chest at the top, okay? So the short version is lean over more right away and stay leaned over longer on the way up. And that's it. That's all you got to do, man. But it's going to feel wrong because you're used to, you think squats feel good when you have this vertical back angle, and it's not the right way to do it. It's fine for now, but you're going to be able to tap into a whole new level of power if you just make it feel wrong for a couple workouts and really commit to like, God, it feels like I'm leaning over way too much, right? But once you feel that hip drive, you'll be like, okay, I get it. And then that will become the new normal. Okay. So work on that and stop trying to keep your chest up. You're doing it too much. And let's see another video and let's check out the press next week, man. All right. Thanks for the post. Hope this helps. And let's keep going. Throwaway. What do we got here? Deadlift work set. 82 and a half kilos, 76 kilos, 35 years old. Been lifting some months now. I'm on the Novice C program. I know it seems odd for me to move to the Novice C when my weight isn't that high, but I'm naturally weak and run out of novice progress quite quickly. I had a starting strength coach and moved out of the the starting strength novice NLP and onto upper lower splits before my deadlift reached 80K and when my body weight was 70 to 80K. Okay, let's see what happened. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, that just starts right in the middle, so I don't get to see your setup. I like the guy behind you just doing like external rotations. Well, your back looks beautiful. Okay. Oh boy. Nice, you saved it. You saved that rep. You're taking too long, man. You're gonna psych yourself out. You got to get through these. You just got to go for it. Not bad. Yeah, this is, dude. God bless you. This is a grinder. You look exhausted. Uh, okay. Oh no, 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 no. You do not drop the bar like that. That is a huge no-no. I don't care how tired. This is just a gym, like, this is gym etiquette. Yeah. Okay. And you know, you probably don't know that. You have to be taught that. But you would get yelled at a lot of gyms for doing that. I know it's like Olympic weightlifting. It looks like maybe there's some CrossFit stuff and their bumper plates and like whatever. But it's just like good, like it's proper etiquette is you picked it up, you put it down. It's not, especially if it's not your equipment, right? You respect the equipment and you don't just throw the bar down. Plus, it's part of the rep, right? Picking up the weight is the first half and setting it down is the second half. So you basically did 4.5 reps there if you just dropped the weight. So lecture over, but just for in the future, as a respectable lifter, do not drop the bar at the end of your deadlift. It's looked down upon, and maybe not at your gym, but it should be. So, okay. So let's talk about your form here. And let's talk about, did you have questions or, I guess it's just a general form check for the deadlift. Okay. Well, let's see. So one of the things that sticks out to me, and we'll just correct this because it's an easy one, is how you're putting the bar down. So when you pick the bar up, the knees extend. If you want to pick the bar up in a straight line, the knees have to extend before the hips extend. Okay, so from the ground, if the knees have to pull back out of the way. So you start with knee extension, and then and that pulls the knees out of the way, the bar can move past the knees, and then you open up your hips. That will move the bar in a straight line. If you do the opposite and extend your hips first while keeping the knees bent, the bar has to go out and back around the knee. So on the way up, it's knees, then hips, knees open up, then hips open up. On the way down, it's the opposite. You're gonna start with hip flexion, you're gonna unlock your hips, and you're gonna lower the bar down. And then once you get past the knees, you're gonna bend the knees and the bar will end up right back over the middle of your foot, right? If you do what you're doing, which is you unlock the knees first, you're gonna build this ramp with the thighs and the bar's gonna come out and it's gonna end up way in front of the middle of your foot. So if you watch how you put this down, see your knees bent and now the bar slides out that way and then you have to roll it all the way back. And it's because you've got the order wrong. So on the way up, it's knees extend, then hips extend. And on the way down, it's hips flex, then knees flex. You've got the way up pretty good, but it's just a common thing that you make this ramp with your thighs and you just have to end up rolling the bar around a lot more. So that's a pretty easy fix. Just lean over first, unlock your hips first, and then once the bar clears your knees, you can set it down. All right. These are pretty good reps. And again, I've been through the sets like this, but like you can get really fatigued. This is not a comfortable position to be in, right? Your thighs are pushing into your stomach. You can't breathe. The blood's rushing to your head. You don't want to stay down there longer than you have to. You want to like set it down, roll it back. And even though you're tired, just like set and go, like get it over with. Cause the longer you stay down there, the more you're going to psych yourself out. You're going to start to feel the fatigue even more. And it makes the whole thing harder. So even though it feels like you need to stop and catch your breath, try and get through like 3 reps real quick. Like set it down, set, go. Set it down, set, go. And then maybe the last 1 or 2 reps, you take your time and you take a few extra breaths and psych yourself up. Okay. The other thing is you're doing something I've talked about quite a bit, which is setting, relaxing, fidgeting, setting, relaxing, and then setting and going, right? And it's very hard to set your back. It takes a lot of energy to get that arch tight. So it should be the last thing you do before you pick the bar up off the ground. And one of your reps here, it might be this one. You set, then you relax, then you set again, then you wiggle, then you set, right? It's like you're kind of setting and then you got to fix something. So you relax and you set again, you set. That's all wasted energy. That's all going to make you more tired for this, right? So what you want to do is take care of all the wiggling and fidgeting before you pull the dead, before you set your back. Setting your back should be the last thing you do before you pick the bar up off the ground. So the right way to do this is set the bar down, roll it back to your shins, get your hips up, get the weight on your foot, get your grip set, get balanced. Like, okay, I've taken care of everything. I'm now ready to pull the deadlift. And then the deadlift launch sequence is breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. So once your balance is right, you're ready to go, you're still, everything's taken care of, but you haven't set your back yet. Then you go breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. Take a breath, squeeze your chest up, set your back, pause, make sure you're tight, make sure you didn't nudge the bar. Got to put that pause in there, and then pull. Breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. And that way, you take that breath, you set your back, you can do a little pause, and then the bar comes off the ground. And so you're not wasting your energy, when you already have a limited amount here, because this is heavy for you. You're not wasting your energy trying to fix a bunch of stuff and hold your back tight or loosening it, tightening it, loosening it. That's just sucking energy out of your limited reserves here. So see how you kind of already are arching, but you're still wiggling around. And then you're kind of set, and then you did it again, and now you're going to pick the bar up off the ground. It's like you want to set the back, lock it, and go. That's it. Okay. So that's I think the overall takeaway here is once you start the pull, you're losing a little bit of the back extension. It's flexing a little bit. It's not bad, but it's flexing because you've set it 3 times before you tried to pick the bar up off the ground, and then they're just fatigued. So you want to conserve as much of that energy as possible, and then set 1 time, pause, go. So that, aside from putting the bar down in the correct way and not dropping it, the thing that's going to help your deadlift overall, because once you start the lift, it's pretty good. Like, you've got the basic movement down and you can set your back beautifully. It's a matter of being able to hold it. So we want to make the whole process as systematic, repeatable, robotic as possible. It should be automatic and identical every rep. It's like the same pattern. There's not all this random fidgeting and twisting and stuff like that. And we want to make it as efficient as possible so you conserve as much energy as possible so you have it when you need it, which is actually picking the bar up off the ground. You don't need to waste a lot of energy rolling the bar back, getting your balance on your foot, setting your grip, setting your head position. That doesn't take any energy. That's a break in between reps. That's where you do a little bit of recovery. So just kind of put the bar down, relax a little bit, take your time, get it back over the middle of your foot, get your hips up to the right height, find the balance on your foot, get your grip. Okay, now I'm ready. And now we're going to turn it on. Now we're going to go from 0 tension in the body to maximum tension in the body to the bar actually coming up off the ground. So it's ever increasing tension. Once something tightens and locks and gets tense, it never relaxes until you put the bar back down. So if you set your back and then relax it, you just wasted a bunch of energy, right? Setting, relaxing. There was no point in you using that energy to set your back if you're just going to relax and do it again and then do it again and fidget. You see what I'm saying? So just to recap, want you to, you just need to clean up your process of pulling a rep, because it's too random right now. Okay, just make it methodical. Okay, put the bar down from the previous rep. Got it. Is it over the middle of my foot? No. All right, first thing, roll it back or get my hips up to the right height. If I dropped them, roll the bar back, grip, head position, balance, motionless. Okay, good. I'm ready. Here we go. Big breath, hard arch, squeeze, pause, push. Done. And then set it down and go through that process again. Okay? Breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. That's the launch sequence once you've set once you've taken care of everything else you need to take care of. Okay? So just try and practice that. With your warm-ups, light sets, everything should be, and this is for every lift, methodical, systematic, repeatable. Okay? Try it. And I think the goal here is that these will look cleaner because you will be conserving your energy in between reps and then deploying it surgically when you need it, which is to pick up the weight. That back will stay tighter because you just did it once and then it's locked and you go. Okay? So take a whack at that. Try and, what we call controlled aggression. Calmness and then aggression. Calmness and then aggression. You do a rep, you gotta really you gotta get fired up to actually pick that weight up off the ground. But before that, you should kind of find your zen. Get set. Okay, now I gotta turn it on. Now I'm gonna go. All right? So work on that. Calm aggression. Calm aggression. Calm aggression. Systematic. And let's see what that looks like, man. So let's do another one when you think you got it, and we'll keep dialing it in. And next time, if you can, include in the video your setup for the first rep, because that just helps to see. But thank you for the post. I think you're a new guy, and welcome. Happy to have you here. And let's keep going. Let's get this dialed in, man. All right, one more. Dick back in action. Good. Just made it in this morning before I locked the thread. Looks like I might be just in time to squeeze in. Program update deadlifts. I switched to 3s. I'm doing heavy workout every fortnight. And this is the last triple at 205 kilos. All right, so you switched to pulling triples and you're doing, what's a fortnight? 2 weeks? Every other week. Let's see what it looks like. Always good to see Dick in the dungeon. All right, what do we got here? Let's see if you do that rocking thing onto your toes again. Looks, oh boy. How many? Oh, you're doing 3 here. Okay. Okay, let's go, Dick. Ooh. Good man. Good man. I wonder if, I know I talked to you about programming stuff. I don't know if I told you the rule of if you pull 3, at least 3, you don't have to do a back offset. But if you don't, then you do have to do a back offset. That's how I do it. And it really motivates me to go for that 3rd rep. Overall, these are way better than, we saw before, where you were doing this weird thing, like shifting onto your toes and then dropping back. The only issue here really is how much you're setting your back before pulling. You really just need to set it harder and lower, right? Down in here is where we want the arch. Okay? But you kind of like a half-ass set. You're like, okay, it's kind of round, and then you try and pick it up. And if you don't set it all the way, it's gonna round, right? You have to go 100% locked, or it's just gonna come right out. If you set it 60% and then pick the weight off, your back's gonna go soft, which is what's happening here. It's just like, look at the boop, like it's not an arch. All right, let me just, I'll just show you, let's see, I got a good deadlift here to show you what a good arch looks like. What do we got? Oh boy, I got a lot of, let's try this one. All right, well, let's watch Josh here. Watch the set. See that? See how long it took him to set his back and how long he paused before pulling? Like, watch his lower back. Arch, hold, push. Yours was like, boop, go, boop, go. And you will learn that this should be the hardest part of the lift right here. The second hardest part of the lift. But setting your back should be exhausting. Like, you are trying to arch it so damn hard and squeeze every little bit of extension out of your lumbar spine that it is like doing an extra rep, that hard. Because if you do that and lock it, the rep will feel easier, because now your back is like, once you lock it like that, the force transfer is like a steel rod. That's what we want. But if you lock it a little bit and then it just rounds the whole time, you've got a power leak the whole way up. Makes the whole rep feel harder. So if you do the work early of just taking the time to set an arch as hard as you can and make sure it's locked, the payoff is the rep feels easier because it's more efficient. It's faster. When you're pushing with a rounding spine, right? You're using all this force that's traveling up your back, and it's actually your back's rounding. So you're losing so much of the work that your hips and legs are doing as your spine rounds. If you can lock it just like a steel pole, then it's all that force goes down to the bar, which is what we want. I got another one for you too. Let's see if I gotta find John. Let me look through these. Oh, that's not what I want. Let me see if I can. This is uninteresting, I know, but it'll be worth it. Where's John? Oh, here we go. Let's try this one. Look at that, John Patrizio. Look at how long that took. Now, okay, I'm sorry, this one's playing at like half speed, but still, look at that. Pause. If how much effort and how much motion and squeeze he got out of that. Like, watch his back. Boom, and then pause, and then he tries to pick it up. Okay? That's the amount of effort that has to go into setting your back. And both of these examples, they squeeze and they pause before they start, right? Breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. They pause and they make sure, can I get any more out of this? Is this it? Or can I get any more? And then they go when they know they're locked, right? Now, if we watch your set and we watch you set your back here, after you talk to Jesus, it's that, and then you're up, right? And that was the first rep, so it's going to get shorter from here, right? You're going to reset, boop, and like no pause whatsoever. It's like you see how quickly, and it goes arch, round, versus like take your time there. Like that one, you didn't even arch that much. Okay. So, now it's a grind, right? Because it's the whole rep is harder because of the lack of rigidity in your spine and the loss of all the force transfer from the hips and the legs. Like, they're doing all the work and it's just like, you're just giving it up. So overall, like, you got the movement down. You just have to take more time. Treat that that moment of locking your back, setting it as like, take it seriously. It's because it's like getting to the bottom of the squat, you know, and not being balanced or not letting your knees cave in. Like, it's all going to go to shit from there, right? Because you're not in the right bottom position to start a drive up, balance tight, knees out. It's gonna, like, you're gonna have all these issues that occur just because you got the bottom position, the start position wrong. The deadlift starts with the start position, right? The squat, you have to sort of get to you have to take the bar down and land in the start position for the drive up and then go. So you got to it's like a dance, right? To get down there and be balanced. In the deadlift, you don't have any weight in your hands until you go. And so you got all the time in the world, right? It's not like you're just going to end up there, you know, with the squat. You could get out of the groove, out of balance as you try and get it to the launch position. But in the deadlift, you just can kind of take all your time to get set and then as tight as possible and then explode up, right? Like, it would be the equivalent of like if you squatted down to the bottom without any weight on your back, got perfectly tight, knees out, and then someone came and put the barbell on you. And then you just have to stand up with it. That's what we're doing in the deadlift. So it's cool because you can really take your time down there to get set. And so take your time and give it the focus it needs so that you're set up. So everything is tight and the rep is as efficient as possible. And you got the best chance of transferring all that force to the bar. All right. So I'm repeating myself now. So that means it's time to stop, but try it, right? You can even count. When I set my back, it's going to take 2 seconds, 3 seconds from the moment I take that breath and I set. 1, 2, 3, go. Try that and see if you can get more extension out of it. Because if you half-ass that, you're going to pay for it with a power leak. All right, man. Good to see you again. Hope that helps. It's not really a technique thing. It's more of like where do you put your focus? Where do you put your emphasis? And treating the parts of the squat of the deadlift or giving them the attention that they actually need. And yeah, love it, man. All right, guys, we did it again. Thank you as always. Super fun doing these, and I really appreciate you all being a part of it and contributing and watching and everything. So I think I'm driving back to Idaho next week, so there may not be a Form Check Friday next Friday, but hopefully definitely the week after that. If that changes, I'll let you know either way, but it'll either be 2 weeks from today, or if I can get it in, travel plans are what they are, then I might be able to do one next Friday, but I will let you guys know. And you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.